You've been taught to search outside yourself for answers, taught that wisdom lives in books, that power lies in institutions, and that healing must be granted by another. But Thoth, the tongue of the divine and keeper of the emerald flame, whispered a different truth across time. As within, so without. As above, so below. The temple you seek is not lost in dust-covered ruins or hidden in distant sands. It lives quietly breathing within the chamber of your own body. This is where the path begins. Before language was written, before prayers were spoken, there was the breath. Inhale, exhale. The first and last rhythm of this life, so subtle, so persistent, we forget it is the rhythm of the divine itself. The breath is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, the formless and the formed. It is the sacred threshold between the mortal and the eternal. To remember your breath is to remember that you are not merely flesh and thought, but a temple, a living shrine animated by the unseen. The ancient Egyptians did not divide body and soul as we do now. They saw the body as a constellation of subtle intelligences, each one infused with the essence of a Neteru, an archetypal force of divine intelligence. The lungs, the heart, the liver, the tongue, each had its deity, its resonance. The breath carried through this divine architecture was not only air, it was life force. It was consciousness in motion. It was the say, the animating spirit made visible through rhythm. And so we ask gently, when did you last feel your breath as sacred? Not just as a tool for survival, but as a messenger of eternity. In the silence of early morning, try this. Sit with yourself. No demands, no urgency. Let your spine remember the elegance of uprightness, as if each vertebra were a glyph from an ancient scroll. Let your hands rest like offerings. Now inhale not to control, not to impress, just to listen. Feel how breath enters not just your lungs, but your awareness. It moves you from mind to presence, from past to now, from illusion to remembrance. Each breath is an echo of creation. The first divine utterance was not a word. It was vibration, breath, frequency. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. But before that word, there was silence, and the breath that broke it. We are not separate from the source. We are emanations of it. We are not walking through life. We are being breathed by it. To recognize this is not to become grandiose, but reverent. To know this is to begin the journey of return, not outward, but inward. You are not lacking. You are not broken. You are not late. You are simply remembering. The temple is within, and breath is your first key. Imagine walking through that temple now. The pillars are carved with symbols, not in any alphabet, but in sensation, peace, warmth, openness. With every breath, the walls brighten. The inner sanctum glows. The priesthood of your own cells awakens. The forgotten rituals begin again, not with incense and chanting, but with the humble, sacred act of noticing your breath. Do you see? This is not metaphor. This is mechanics of the soul. The Hermetic law of mentalism teaches that all is mind. Reality is mental. But what is the first function of the mind? It is to become aware. And what opens the gate of awareness? faster than anything else, the breath. So when you feel scattered, come back to breath. When the world feels loud, descend inward. When fear rises, remember this: you are the temple, and the breath is the priest. Let it guide you. Let it purify you. Let it remind you that you are not a visitor in this life. You are a sovereign architect, with every inhale laying a brick in the palace of presence. And what is the first act of sovereignty? Listening. So listen now, not with ears, but with your skin, your blood, your breath. The temple is speaking. The Neteru are not myths. They are movements within you. Isis rising as compassion. Horus sharpening as vision. Thoth weaving thought into wisdom. They have never left. They live here, where breath and stillness meet. Come home to the forgotten temple within. Close your eyes. Inhale slowly. Exhale even slower. Feel it, not just the air, but the subtle shift. The soft shimmer of awareness expanding. You are no longer just sitting in a room. You are moving through dimensions. This is not imagination. This is the physics of consciousness. The ancients knew what modern minds often forget. The breath is not merely oxygen. It is intelligence. It is intention given movement. And when guided with awareness, it becomes the bridge between what is and what can be. The Kabbalion teaches us the all is mind, the universe is mental. This is the law of mentalism, the first Hermetic principle. Reality is not a fixed structure. It is a malleable dream, unfolding according to the frequency of your inner world. The breath is your tuning fork, your steering wheel, your sculptor's chisel. When you breathe unconsciously, life feels random, reactive, mechanical. But when breath becomes conscious, reality shifts. You are no longer a pawn, you are the player. You are no longer pushed by the winds, you become the wind. Let us explore this more deeply. Imagine your thoughts as waves on a vast ocean. Most people try to change the waves by pushing them around, resisting them, reacting to them. But the wise know, don't chase the waves. Still the waters. The breath is how we do this. Think of a moment you felt anxious or out of control. Did you notice how shallow your breathing became? How tight your chest felt? Breath mirrors state, but more profoundly, breath also creates state. Inhale with fear, and the body contracts. Inhale with love, and the body opens. You are creating the field in which your experience arises. Now, consider this. With every conscious breath, you are signaling to the quantum field what kind of world you believe in. Your inner world instructs the outer world. When you breathe with intention, slow, calm, present, you are sending a ripple across the unseen web of possibility. Inhale gently, exhale completely. You are programming the matrix. One small, intentional breath can be the turning point of a day. One sacred breath can interrupt a lifetime of unconscious reaction. This is not poetry, it is spiritual technology. The mystics of Kemet, those priests, scribes, and dreamwalkers didn't wait for the stars to align. They aligned themselves. They used breath to enter higher states, not to escape life, but to infuse it with divinity. To observe a single breath with reverence was to touch eternity. And what is the mechanism here? Presence. The breath brings you out of time past and future melt, and suddenly you are awake in the eternal now. And from that place, creation begins. Not with effort, but with alignment. Not with willpower, but with vibration. Here's something you can try right now. Breathe in for a count of 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Hold again for 4. This is the sacred square, the breath of balance. 4 directions, 4 elements, 4 chambers of the heart. Repeat this gently, not rigidly, until you feel yourself arriving, not into a place, but into yourself. In this arrival, something ancient stirs. You remember that you are not separate from the all, that the same intelligence that spins the stars lives behind your ribs, that the air you draw into your lungs is the same breath once carried by the gods, the same breath spoken into the nostrils of clay to awaken life. So now, we ask not as a ritual, but as a remembering. What reality am I breathing into existence? Is it one of fear or of freedom? Is it shaped by old stories or new visions? Am I breathing as a habit or as a creator? The Neteru were not bound to form. They are frequencies, living laws of nature and consciousness. To invoke them is not to worship, but to attune. To breathe with Mot is to align with harmony. To breathe with Sekhmet is to awaken courage. To breathe with Thoth is to anchor wisdom into thought. You don't need to do more. You need only to breathe fully. You need only to become aware of the breath and allow that awareness to change the way you think, speak, and move. This is how we shift timelines, not through force, but through frequency. This is how we walk between worlds, not by leaving the body, but by fully inhabiting it. Each conscious breath is a sacred spell. Each breath is a choice to remember. Each breath is the bridge. There is a pulse to everything, a rhythm, a dance. The pendulum swings inhale, exhale, rise, fall, light, dark. The Hermetic law of polarity tells us everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. In the world of form, this cannot be escaped, but it can be transcended. To breathe is to ride the wave of polarity. To awaken is not to escape the swing, but to master it. Pause now. Feel your breath. One side contracts, the other expands. The chest lifts, the belly softens. One pole yields, the other rises. Just like joy and sorrow. Just like gain and loss. These opposites are not enemies. They are dance partners. The breath teaches us that balance is not stillness, but harmony. A movement that knows its own center. And so let us step deeper into this mystery. In the teachings of Thoth, it is said that time itself bends for the initiate who understands rhythm. That to master polarity is to become the still point at the heart of change, not by stopping the movement, but by becoming aware of the force behind it. The breath reveals this in every moment. Imagine this. You wake up anxious. The mind spins stories. What if, what next? The nervous system tightens. Your breath becomes sharp, rushed, hidden in the chest. Most of us begin our days this way, unaware and trained to the external noise. We chase resolution outside, not realizing the swing began within. But then you remember. You sit still. You place a hand on your chest. You feel the breath. It's shallow, but it's there. You do not control it. You accompany it. And slowly, it deepens. The swing begins to slow. You are not escaping anxiety. You are embracing presence. You are meeting the polarity with awareness, and in that meeting, something alchemical happens. This is how the pendulum is mastered, not through suppression, but through observation. The law of polarity shows us that every state contains its opposite. In fear, there is hidden courage. In despair, the seed of hope. In silence, a symphony waiting to unfold. The breath does not fight the exhale, it honors it. And in doing so, it welcomes the next inhale. To breathe consciously is to accept both sides of life. Do you see? The exhale is not death, it is surrender. The inhale is not greed, it is reception. Every breath cycle is an act of alchemy, turning resistance into rhythm, tension into flow. Here's a practice to explore this principle when facing discomfort, be it emotional pain, uncertainty, or even physical tension. Pause and notice the breath. Do not change it, just observe. Then breathe in as if receiving what is. Exhale as if releasing resistance to it. Let the breath teach you how to hold both poles in one field. Because the deeper truth is this: you are not the swing. You are the center. You are the axis that watches joy and sorrow rise and fall. You are the sky in which clouds form and dissolve. The breath reminds you, not through theory, but through experience. The ancient initiates of Egypt knew this intimately. In the temples of Hathor, the priestesses used breath and sound to shift emotional states. They did not suppress sadness. They gave it tone resonance breath. In doing so, they transformed it. They understood that to be fully alive is to feel, but not to be ruled by what is felt. In modern terms, we might say to feel everything, but be enslaved by nothing. This is not detachment. This is power. To sit in the fire and breathe through it. To walk through the storm with soft steps. To cry and know even tears are holy water, cleansing the lens of perception. So we ask, where in your life are you resisting the swing? Where are you clinging to joy, fearing its loss? Where are you suppressing sorrow, fearing it will consume you? Breathe there, not to fix, not to flee, but to feel. You are not a leaf in the wind, you are the tree. You are not your thoughts, you are the field in which they pass. The breath reminds you of this each time you return. With presence, polarity becomes power. With breath, chaos becomes cadence. You begin to see the sacred geometry in it all. The inhale is not better than the exhale. Summer is not better than winter. Both are needed. Both are divine. And when you stop resisting one side of the swing, you begin to ascend above it. This is the art of inner alchemy, to turn the push and pull of life into presence. And that presence, anchored in breath, is the seat of your sovereignty. As above, so below. As within, so without. The most famous Hermetic axiom is not a poetic mystery. It is a map. a truth encoded in stars, reflected in rivers, and pulsing in your very breath. The law of correspondence is not only metaphysical, it is visceral. It lives in your heartbeat, in the way your breath syncs with the moon's pull on the tide of your blood. You are not a separate spark of consciousness. You are a microcosm of the entire cosmos, woven from the same divine fabric. Close your eyes again. Breathe softly. Imagine the sun rising not in the sky, but within your chest. Feel the warmth, the expansion. This is not imagination. This is remembrance. The breath draws a bridge between soul and cosmos, not symbolically, but energetically. Every inhale pulls in the story of stars. Every exhale returns your signature back to the universe. This reciprocal flow is not passive, it is participatory. You are not a watcher of the world. You are part of its unfolding. To understand the breath as a correspondence tool is to unlock the forgotten technology of alignment. The ancients knew this. The sacred architecture of temples in Kemet were not random. They were built to mirror constellations, to harness solar alignments, to breathe in harmony with the heavens. When the initiate stood within those walls, they became the altar and the offering. You can do the same. Right now, wherever you are, breathe in as if drawing down starlight. Exhale as if blessing the earth with your essence. You are conducting a cosmic current. Modern science calls it bioresonance, quantum fields, coherence. But the Neteru knew it simply as living in Mat, in harmony, in truth, in balance with all things. The breath is your instrument of resonance. When you breathe in alignment with love with intention, you harmonize with the frequencies of creation itself. Think of a tuning fork held beside a piano string. It sings without touch, simply because it matches the vibration. You too can learn to vibrate with higher realms. The breath is how. Let's look at this practically. You walk into a chaotic room, tension thick in the air. Without breath, your field collapses. You absorb the anxiety, react to the noise, and lose center. But pause. Inhale slowly. Exhale fully. Your field expands. You become the calm. You don't change the room by fighting it. You change your resonance and the room shifts around you. This is correspondence in action. The same principle holds when facing doubt, confusion, or despair. These are not errors, they are invitations. Energies that have lost their rhythm. But yes, you can breathe rhythm back into them. When you forget who you are, look at the moon. She waxes and wanes, yet never doubts her fullness. Breathe with her. When the sun rises, feel it not only warming the earth, but igniting your solar plexus, your personal sun of will, courage, and vision. Align your breath with that power. In ancient Egyptian cosmology, the gods were not distant deities. They were patterns of nature, blueprints of consciousness. Osiris is not just a myth. He is the cycle of death and rebirth within you. Isis is not merely a goddess. She is the magnetic force of love that draws scattered pieces back into wholeness. Thoth is not a relic. He is the breath of wisdom that speaks when you are still. These archetypes live within your breath. Try this on your inhale. Whisper inwardly, I receive. On your exhale, I radiate. This is the sacred loop of life, taking in the cosmic breath and giving back your frequency. The more conscious you become of this rhythm, the more you attune to the Neteru, not as icons, but as living frequencies within your being. You are the temple. You are the priest. You are the offering and the flame. And so we ask again, what am I aligning with? Do my thoughts reflect the order of the stars or the chaos of distraction? Is my breath carrying anxiety or presence? Am I breathing with the cosmos or against it? These are not moral questions. They are energetic ones. The law of correspondence tells us change the inner and the outer will echo. Breathe harmony and life begins to mirror harmony. Breathe with love and doors open where there were only walls. Breathe with reverence and the universe begins to speak in symbols and synchronicities. This is the ancient magic. Not in spells or potions, but in perception. In remembering that everything is connected and that you are not just in the universe, you are the universe aware of itself. So breathe now, as if the stars are watching, as if your soul is listening, because they are. Stillness is not emptiness. It is the throne of the eternal. There is a place within you, untouched by time, beyond sensation, older than thought. It watches, it listens, it breathes without effort. In the chaos of the modern world, we forget this witness. We get lost in noise, in roles and stories. But breath is the rope that pulls us back into the seat of awareness. This is the final key, the alchemy of the observer. To observe is not to withdraw, it is to transmute. The Kabbalion teaches, to change your mood or mental state, change your vibration. And who is it that changes the vibration? The observer. That still, quiet intelligence that lives beneath reaction, beneath persona, beneath even breath. When you become aware of the breath, you activate that observer. When you stay with it through storm-silent sensation, you begin the most sacred transformation of all, turning identity into essence. The breath passes through the body, but awareness sits behind it all. In the temples of Thoth, the initiates were trained not to master knowledge, but perception, to see clearly, to perceive truth beyond illusion. And what is illusion? That we are separate, that we are small, that we must earn worth through effort, that we are at the mercy of circumstance. But awareness dissolves all of that. Close your eyes. Breathe once slowly. Feel the breath enter, but do not follow it. Observe it. Watch it rise, fall. You are not the breath. You are the space in which breath occurs. You are the silent presence behind the flow. And in that realization, liberation begins. This is the final alchemy. Not turning lead into gold, but turning reaction into response. Turning ego into essence. Turning the fragmented self into wholeness. When the observer is awakened, suffering becomes teacher. Noise becomes music. Shadows become messengers. You no longer resist what is, you see what is. And what you see clearly, you can transform. That is the gift of Thoth, not facts, but clarity. The eye that sees through illusion. The word that births creation. the breath that shapes reality from stillness. Now imagine this in your daily life. You are triggered, emotion rises. The old habit would be to act, react, defend, collapse. But now you pause. 1 breath. 2. You do not suppress but observe. This is anger. This is fear. You are not lost in it. You are with it. In that gap, transformation begins. You become the alchemist. Observation is the crucible. Breath is the fire. Awareness is the philosopher's stone. This is why the mystics spoke little, why they moved slowly. They were not lazy, they were precise, aligned, awake. Stillness is not passive, it is generative. It creates space for the divine to move. Can you sit in stillness, not to escape, but to witness? Can you be with the breath long enough for it to reveal its true source? Not the lungs, not the body, but the animating intelligence itself, who breathes you when you sleep, who watches your dreams, who speaks in symbols in your silence. It is you, capital Y, the part of you untouched by time, always watching, always present. And when this part awakens, life becomes sacred again. The smallest act, a glance, a word, a breath, becomes infused with power. You move with intention. You speak with vibration. You live not as a reaction to the world, but as a creator within it. Let us ask now, who is breathing this moment? Who is watching your thoughts come and go? Can you stay with that witness, not to analyze, but to remember? The alchemist does not fight the world. She refines herself. He does not seek power in domination, but in presence. This is the breath of the Neteru, the breath that remembers itself, that watches, that guides, that transforms. You are not just awakening, you are remembering the part of you that was never asleep. The observer, the dreamer, the creator behind the breath. Let this breath be the beginning. Let your next exhale carry away everything you are not. Let your next inhale be the soul stepping back into the throne. The breath is not just a tool, it is the teacher. The observer is not just awareness, it is the divine remembering itself through you. And in that remembrance, the miracle begins. You were never lost, only distracted. The breath, the rhythm, the wisdom, they've always been with you, whispering in silence, waiting in stillness. The Neteru were never just gods of old. They are frequencies of the living universe, echoing through your body, rising with your awareness, awakening through your breath. You are the temple, the priest, the flame. You are the observer, the breath, the word made flesh. In every moment, you hold the power to create not only a new experience, but a new world. So, inhale gently, exhale slowly. Live as if the stars are watching. Walk as if every step is a spell. Speak as if the breath is sacred, because it is. And when you forget, return. Return to the breath. Return to the Neteru. Return to the part of you that was never broken, never gone, never separate from the all. This is the path of remembrance. This is the alchemy of Thoth. If these words stirred something ancient within you, leave a trace, a comment, a reflection, a breath made visible. Subscribe to this current of awakening, and let us walk the golden path together as conscious creators of the living cosmos.